Welcome everyone. Joe with ECRM here at our sessions in Germany. And with me is Max Burianek, who is the TikTok shop leader in Germany. And he gave a great presentation yesterday about social commerce. So we're going to dig into all of that today. So Max, thank you so much for the great presentation and for joining us, spending time with the brands here. And before we dive into TikTok shop, can you give an overview of TikTok as a discovery platform?
Yeah, absolutely. So thanks for having me. And it's been a great event the past 2 days. I really enjoyed it. So TikTok really is the best place I could imagine to discover new topics. And I mean, that's not limited to any specific niche, right? I mean, many still remember TikTok being a place for lip syncing and dancing, but I mean, what has emerged over the past years is actually many vertical niches have emerged, right? You have the book talk phenomenon, right? I mean, I love books truly, and the book talk phenomenon is great. It helps authors, publishers, even retailers to bring new titles, new exciting books to readers. And then also, if you look at the music space, for example, 1 out of 3 viral hits goes actually viral first on TikTok, right? That's where actually music lovers, they discover new hit products. And I think the magic behind that is really the number of very very creative people doing content that truly speaks to TikTok users.
And content is the key. It all starts with that content, and you're right, it can get very niche. I just as a goof, during the pandemic, a lot of the rats moved from industrial garbage, right, restaurants and grocery stores, to the apartment, the buildings garbage cans. So we started seeing them in the street. So I started filming some of them, throwing them on TikTok. Some of them got millions of views, and it became a thing for a little bit. Now they're gone. It's not a problem, but it's weird how something so small like that can just catch fire, and you could see how it drives these trends, these products, and all of that. So
yeah, I think that's really the great thing when the magic happens, and once you experience that one time, right? It's really impressive to see how something goes viral, right? And you feel like how something really speaks to many people out there, right?
And it could be anything, and it's a way of introducing people to new things, whether it's food or cooking ingredients or fashion or beauty, anything. It's the way that discovery, like you said, discovery commerce was a perfect term for it. They're finding new things on there, and they're going, and there's some people, are looking for new things within the categories, and then the algorithm just puts all the good stuff, based on their interests right in front of them. So you guys have been expanding a lot in Europe. I know you went to the United States, 2 years ago?
Yes, exactly, yeah.
And you're already, I think, with the top beauty e-commerce retailer or close to it in the US. So tell us a little bit about what you've been doing, how you've been expanding in Europe.
Yeah, in Europe, actually, we've been for 4 years now in the UK, right? And the UK actually, it's been very impressive. I myself, I worked in the UK last year, and it was great to see where actually we have brought the platform there, right? It's really, we got 200,000 sellers on the platform in the UK, 1 million creators, and customers really lean in. And it's actually, earlier this year, we launched in Germany, in France, and in Italy, and a couple of months before that in Spain and in Ireland. So we are now in these 5 countries on continental Europe. And I really can say that it's been a crazy story since then. We've seen like huge growth in actually most categories even, right? And by now we have 14,000 sellers in Germany on the platform. That includes like very well-known brands, Samsung, Lidl, L'Oreal, but also actually very exciting, thriving local brands.
Okay, I found that it's a great way for smaller emerging brands to really gain traction. There is one brand in the US that when it expanded, it had got a retail deal, expanded from a 17,000 square foot facility to a 10,000 square foot facility. The retail deal was held up by a few months, but he still had to pay for that new facility's rent. So he went and started doing TikTok lives. and that drove enough e-commerce business to keep him going until the deal.
It's a great story.
Yeah.
There's so many of these stories, and one of the privileges of my job is really to actually witness and be a part of all these entrepreneurial stories.
Yeah, they're fun. It's great, and a lot of them are just startups. So you talked about how TikTok Shop closes the loop of social commerce. The browse, select, checkout, advocate. Can you take us through that?
Yeah, certainly. So let me start with maybe looking at what we all know when we talk about e-commerce, right?
Sure.
If we think of e-commerce, it's mostly a very transactional experience, right? If the word experience at all is okay, right?
Yeah.
It's very convenient. But what you typically do today is if you shop online, you know what you want, right? You got the information somewhere, and then you go to one of those platforms actually that do a very good job in making the purchase process very convenient. And actually are also providing great delivery, like speedy. But it's very transactional, and you measure the experience mostly by how fast you can complete it.
Gotcha,
What completely got lost, if you all think back, those who might still remember, like how shopping looked before it went online, like you were walking like the shopping area of a town, right? You would just casually go into a store. Maybe you didn't know what to buy, or maybe you wanted to buy a pair of pants, and then you would leave the shop with a sweater or so, right?
The days of the malls.
Exactly.
Just go wander the malls.
That kind of experience where shopping can be really a joyful experience, like also full of surprises and inspiration. But that got lost. That got lost. And at the same time, with TikTok becoming more popular, what we noticed is that many users actually starting to get inspiration for new products, new brands on TikTok. And that's quite impressive. So we also asked our users actually, and they tell us that 1 out of 2 gets inspiration for new brands, new products they would buy on TikTok. Right?
So you're talking about brands are getting inspiration for new products.
Exactly.
No,
I mean is the customers would get inspiration. Like there's a new brand that looks cool. Exactly.
Okay.
And then brands started to recognize that, right, and acknowledge, and that's why over the past years we've already seen that many companies build a TikTok presence, right, and try to reach new audiences, and did so quite successfully. Now, what was missing actually is users might find a new brand, a new product, but then if they wanted to buy,
they had to go somewhere else.
You have to look for that in your favorite search engine, or go to another platform, look for the product, open up an account, like a lot of friction.
Or even go into a store.
Or in
a physical store.
Exactly, or go offline. And we saw all that halo. We saw all that halo where inspiration on TikTok translates into sales in other channels. But obviously a lot of friction involved. Not a very convenient experience, right? And and that's actually where TikTok Shop closes the loop, in that now you can not only find the product, but you can also see details for the product on TikTok Shop. And then if the user comes to the conclusion, well, this is a great product, right? He can actually order it in the app. So he can check out there. He can even track like how's the delivery going, is it on time, all these things. So that's what we mean by closing the loop.
Yeah, and it's just, it makes that point from discovery to purchase quick and seamless, which I experienced myself as we talked about. At one point, it wasn't a new brand that I discovered, but it was a good deal for a brand that I already used that showed up, and it was a no-brainer. Just, okay, do it right there, one click. 2 days later, it was at my front door. So it makes it a lot easier. So for brands that are working with the platform, there are 4 native ways that they can work with the platform. Can you take us through them?
Yeah, love to. So there are 4 ways. And I'll start with the most important one, which is shoppable video. What is shoppable video? Shoppable video basically works like a typical video in your TikTok feed. And the difference is that a product is presented that you can buy. You'll see a little yellow shopping cart. If you click on that, you'll see more details on the product, and then you can proceed to checkout. The other way how customers can discover a product is live shopping. So live shopping is a great way to connect with users, because it not only gives a seller the opportunity to present a product, explain features, but also react to questions. In the live stream, users might ask, so please show me this piece of fashion from the other side, like turn around. Or they could ask like, well, how do I apply the makeup, right? Or how long would the battery last in a specific device? So that's really great.
I think that's really important. I think it's even more important these days because consumers, they really want to know more about the products. They want to know about the ingredients. They want to know how to use it. So they have a lot more questions, and being able to get them answered by the brand, right, or a brand representative right there is really powerful.
That's a very good point. I mean, you can convey so much more information, and in live, that's for video, and in live, in particular, react to questions. And then the other thing is really, brands do have a personality. And a great way for sellers to use live is they can also let this personality shine, right? It's very hard to convey personality via a detail page.
Yeah, that's a great point too, because you'll have a lot of cases where the brand is the influencer, right? Not, a lot of times they'll hire influencers, but there's nothing more powerful than when the brand becomes the influencer, and then they're live. And there's also that effect where if you ask a question, the brand, it's not a big brand, but a very influential person representing the brand, and they respond to your question. Not only is it giving them information, but it makes them feel good.
Yeah.
It's like that person with this following answered my question personally.
Yes.
So that's a big thing. It's more of a subtle boost, I guess, to them.
Yeah, and it gives, on top, it gives sellers a way to further build their community too. So these are the first two ways, shoppable video and live. Now, we also have a discovery path, which is called ShopTab. ShopTab is a place where users will find all the products that are available on TikTok Shop. They will also find our campaigns, right? Now we're looking at Q4 deal season. They will find our Black Friday, Cyber Monday deals there, but also topic-specific campaigns. And lastly, we have Showcase. Showcase is like the profile page of a seller, right? You might, as a user, discover a new brand via shoppable video or live, and then maybe you want to check out what other products do they offer, right? So you might visit their showcase.
Okay, so now just to distinguish between the shop tab and the showcase. So the shop tab is visible from when you log on. It's visible there. You can get to it there. Now the showcase is different than what you access from the shop tab. Right?
Yes, the shop tab basically also shows all products.
Everything.
It's not limited to one seller, but it's really like where you'll find everything.
That's relevant to you based on
it's personalized, exactly, but it still gives you access to everything, while Showcase is really just for one seller.
One brand.
Yes.
Okay, good. So I wanted to distinguish between those. So those are the 4 ways. So now, what are some strategies behind successful brands on TikTok Shop?
Yeah, so great question. If we look at those sellers who actually are doing extremely well, there are 3 basic strategies emerge. One is what we call a product-led strategy. Product-led means really you focus on your product and you work with creators to promote that, because that's one of the great features of TikTok Shop, that it allows sellers to connect with creators and to really scale their reach, because those creators then would do content on the product they love and present it in their way, right?
Yeah.
And that's really a very scalable, exciting way. It's very product-centric, consisting of that affiliate strategy with creators. Now,
and I like that one point you mentioned yesterday, I think is important to bring up, is the commission. How that commission works with the creators.
It's purely performance-based, right? So that's also why there is no harm in working with many creators. Actually, it's even recommendable. That's what, but I see that successful brands, they work with dozens, sometimes even hundreds of creators. And the commission is purely performance-based. So if a creator generates sales, that's fine, right? If the video goes viral, that's super. And then the commission actually reflects it. And if a video does not perform right, equally, there's no commission paid.
Yeah, so the risk is very small. And it was a creator. That's the impulse purchase that I made was from a creator. It was just, I had no clue who this was. But it was, but I like the way they can add their own personality. They make it their own, and then if you're working with a bunch of them, you pick the most successful ones, and those are the ones that you could boost, which we'll get into a little bit later. But so I think that works well together.
Yeah, and one thing also to mention here is that very successful seller we've seen also, they build then a pool of creators, right? They start working with creators. They see like what creators work best for the brand. They build communities out of these creators, and they repeatedly and on an ongoing basis work with those creators.
Okay, all right. And then the next thing you have is live, right?
Yeah, exactly. So live is, as mentioned, it's great because it really gives a seller a direct access that he wouldn't have in most other channels, right? To their communities and customers. Now, live really works for those who have a strong brand ambassador, right?
Okay.
You wouldn't. Users are very sensitive to identifying who goes live and what's his or her mission, right? But if I'm a brand ambassador, if I'm, for example, the founder of a brand, right, or just have been developed into that brand ambassador, then that gives a unique sense of authenticity, right? Direct access. Again, it doesn't maybe not work for everybody, but if you are in that position as a seller, live can work great. We've seen live take the major role in Asia. Live's really big there.
Oh, huge, yes.
And we also have very successful live sellers in Europe. The major role, however, in Europe for now is with shoppable video, and those are mostly with creators.
Okay.
Now there's a third path, right? Because there is actually one which we call like leveraging the full ecosystem.
Okay,
like
everything together.
Everything together, right? And what we really see is that some of the sellers that are very successful in live, in order to further scale, right? Because they can only go so many hours live per day, right?
Yes. Especially if it's just one person or a handful of people, there's only so much time you got.
Absolutely. So what they would do is they would work both like strongly in live, right? And then also work with tons of creators. There's one great example. For example, it's a beauty brand just from the Munich area, where I'm from, by the way, too, which is called Svenja Wahlbeck. And Svenja is the founder of a very exciting beauty brand, and she's, for example, doing both, right? Svenja she's really great in live. She does amazing lives, but at the same time, she works with many creators to further scale her reach.
Okay, and that's a good combination too to scale up, but you have to have that personality to do live. If you're not very conversational with people, then it's just a one-way presentation. You want the audience to be engaged, and I've seen some of the ones from Asia where on the apparel side they're like switching, they're trying on like for some unbelievable number of outfits within like an hour. And it's just switching from one to the other, and at each time it's amazing what they can do. So you have the product, you have the live, the full ecosystem. So now, but that's one layer. Now you could support that through advertising and campaigns. How does that work?
Yeah, so campaigns obviously is a part of e-commerce and retail, right? Has been, and it's no different on a TikTok shop. It's a great way also to like attract new customers to your brand, and so we have a very solid and attractive campaign schedule on TikTok shop. I mean, campaign's going to be big, obviously, for everybody now that we are looking into Q4, right? Black Friday, Cyber Monday, can't be more excited. We are like the full team. At TikTok Shop is very excited working with our sellers to stock up and then think about what might be nice deals. But apart from the major campaigns and deals, we also do have monthly campaigns. We do have topic specific campaigns that sellers can use. For example, if I'm a seller in the electronic space, right, I can use our Tech Talk Wednesday, right, where I can promote my products. And we also have similar cool events for fashion sellers, for beauty sellers. And then the other point you mentioned was around ads. So ads is really exciting because it nicely ties into the ecosystem. Now, those sellers or brands who have already a presence on TikTok, they might be familiar with advertising solutions. Now, there is one new solution which is specifically tailored for TikTok Shop. And there are two very exciting things about it. One is it's very strong ROI based, so very strong focused on performance. Right? It's not awareness, but at the end of the day, on TikTok Shop, what you want to achieve is sales. Right? So that's what it tries to optimize for. And the piece that I find even more exciting is if you decide to boost your products with ads, the algorithm would look at all the videos that are out there. And this is not only your videos on your products, but it's also creator videos on your products.
Okay.
And would determine which of those products perform best, and would then double down on those videos, try to actually get them even more visibility.
Gotcha.
And that's where that strategy of working with creators in an affiliate model, also working with ideally many creators, having much content out there, ties nicely in with the efficiency of the advertising solution, which we call GMV Max, because you want to maximize GMV.
Yeah, you're hitting it from multiple angles and you're scaling up. And then I think you mentioned something yesterday where you can work, if you're advertising and working with creators, you can work on the commission structure is different, right?
Yeah, exactly. So typically you work with creators in a commission model, which is purely performance based. Now, say for example, you set a commission of 12%.
Okay.
Yeah. This would apply for the organic sales that the creators achieve.
I put something out there, it sells.
I give you 10%.
10%. Okay.
Exactly.
No ads, nothing.
Yeah.
Just me doing it for it. Okay.
Exactly. Now, if I'm the seller and I actually decide to invest in ads in addition, and the algorithm picks your video because it performed, it went viral maybe, and says, that's a great video you did, right? And I'm gonna give that video even more visibility. Then I can decide to assign a differentiated commission rate to the sales that are triggered by my ads investment on your video.
Yeah.
What would it mean? I would pay you a 12% commission for your organic sales, and for example, 6% on your paid sales.
And that's fair because you're boosting their ability to
it's a joint effort in that regard.
Yeah. Okay. That's I like that because it's very fair. It's very fair, and also it encourages people to boost the advertising on their products. So that's great. So we have all of this stuff to get people to purchase the products. Now let's talk a little bit about the nuts and bolts, right? Fulfillment and building the product catalog. So can you start with fulfillment? How is that handled?
Yeah. So, I mean, we all know in e-commerce the delivery experience is about at least 50% of customer satisfaction.
We're spoiled in that regard. Yeah.
We are spoiled in a good way. Exactly. So we give our sellers different ways to actually get products and orders to the customers. One is seller does their own warehousing, right? And then maybe has their own carrier relationship. They use their own carrier. We also offer our own carrier relationship that they can leverage. For those sellers that don't have that warehousing capability, we also offer a solution which we call Fulfilled by TikTok, FBT, with our own warehouse. So what that means is the seller would ship the products to our warehouse, parcels or pallets, right? Yeah. And from there on, we take over. We do the warehousing of the product, and we also do the outbound shipment then to the customer.
Okay.
What's really important is that delivery experience is really important to us. So we really look at performance metrics quite a bit, right? So end-to-end lead times is really important to us. And you're right, we are spoiled in a good way. We try to live up to that.
You got it to me in 2 days. Fulfilled by TikTok.
Awesome.
And so it was very fast.
That's how it should be. And the great thing for sellers is basically it gives them a lot of flexibility. Yeah. I mean, they can decide to put part of their products in their own warehouse. They can put part of their products in FBT, and they can also decide after some time, for example, depending on seasonality, to switch.
Okay, and then as they scale up, they might put more in your warehouse and let you handle it more. So it's good to have those options. And then the product catalogs themselves, right? Some of them, maybe they're a startup brand, they have only a couple of products. Then other brands have hundreds of products. How do they do that? Load it up, manage the products?
Yeah, it's also a good question. It's a super important one, by the way, right? I mean, typically we have, that's one question. Typically, it's not so tough to get sellers and brands sold on the idea of TikTok Shop.
Yeah, but then this is not the glamorous side of it.
Yeah, exactly. So how do you then make it happen? Yeah. So again, we also aim to offer as much flexibility as possible to sellers. Meaning, if you maybe are a small seller, right? You just started your brand. You might have 20, 30 products, right? You want to try out TikTok Shop. Then you can conveniently upload the products via our seller center. You can manage all the listings from there, pricing, etc. Now, you might already have an established brand. You might use Shopify or other e-commerce software that you use to operate your sales on other platforms or in your own D2C web store. Now we offer convenient integrations with all those major softwares, so like whether it's Shopify or Shopware or JTL, Channel Engine, you name it, Channable, Silk. I won't stop here. I could go on forever.
So if I already have my stuff on Shopify,
yeah,
Shopify site, it can integrate right in.
There's a Shopify 1P solution that helps you to manage all your products and sales in one place, right?
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing, and we really try to make it as convenient as possible. Now, we have a couple of sellers that might have tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of products, right? I mean, I told you I'm a book lover, and then I'm very excited that actually Germany's leading book retailer also sells, right?
Okay.
And they obviously like have hundreds of thousands of
just
books.
by the nature of the business,
Exactly. So you wouldn't manage them via lists on Seller Center.
Or some poor person, one person.
Exactly. So, but we actually have a very well documented API for these cases, right? And many of the sellers who have like customized solutions or manage large catalogs, they would use the API connection.
Okay, that's awesome. That's great. So lots of options, lots of flexibility in the way that they can do it, and they can evolve. They can go from one to the other as they evolve. So, so my last question would be for a new brand that's not on TikTok Shop, that's thinking about it. Let's say an emerging brand, not a lot of products. How do they start? What's the best way to get started?
Yeah, so I think the best way to start is to get in contact with our team, and or register in self-service.
Okay.
And then I think one of the things that I've really seen is look at a couple of those sellers that you'll find, right? Look at what they are doing. And I've met so many sellers who were growing strongly, and they were telling me they learned so much from also looking at what others were doing.
Okay.
And basically, there is no, the threshold is pretty low, right?
Yeah.
And there is no harm in just getting inspired by other sellers. And just give it a start and get found by new audiences.
Awesome. And how are your meetings here? I mean, you met with a lot of brands. This is your first time at ACRM. So how is your experience meeting the different brands here?
Well, first of all, I have to say I'm really amazed by this conference. It's probably one of the most efficient meetings that I ever attended. And I met during the past 2 days like really a big number of really exciting brands. And one of the things that really stuck with me was like how much all these brands, like how much love and passion and effort they invest into coming up with great products, right? Thinking about product features, thinking about the design, thinking about the supply chain. And where I feel very excited is that then TikTok Shop comes in when they actually face the toughest question. Now that they have a great product, how do I make my product get found by customers?
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. That's a great point. And timing's good. And that's why, so for those of you out there, a lot of the brands, we do have TikTok Shop at a lot of our sessions in the US too, not just in Europe. So so again, you can get to meet them that way or through the different ways that Max mentioned. So, well, that's awesome. Well, thank you for joining us. Thank you for the presentation. And I'm glad you got to experience our brands here.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.